The play opens with the city of Thebes in turmoil, devastated by a plague. A priest speaks to Oedipus. A plague is on the fruit-bearing plants of the earth. A plague is on the cattle in the fields. A plague is on our women, so that no child is born of them. He reminds the king that he had freed the city from the tribute paid to the Sphinx, and now the city begs him to find a way to save the city and fix it. Oedipus responds that he understands the people's situation and has sent his brother-in-law Creon to the temple of Apollo to find an answer. Upon returning to the city, Creon asks to speak with the king in private, but Oedipus responds, "Speak to all. The pain I carry more for these people than for my own life. To rid the city of the plague, they must find the murderer of King Laius." Knowing little about the former king's death, Oedipus hears the details of the murder, a crime supposedly committed by thieves. He vows to find the killer. Whoever the killer of the king was may easily wish to kill me with his murderous hand, thus helping the dead king. I help myself. Oedipus speaks to the public, imploring that if anyone knows the killer, they come forward, promising that they have no punishment to fear, only exile. However, he invokes a curse. Be he a man, and all unknown or one among many. May he exhaust his life in misery to a wretched doom. He is informed of a local blind prophet, Tiresias, who often sees what Apollo sees and can help him solve the murder. However, after the prophet arrives, he is afraid to speak, fearing for his life if he tells the truth. Oedipus pleads, "You know something, but refuse to speak. Would you betray us and destroy the city?" To try to force him to speak, Oedipus accuses him of being part of a conspiracy. Reluctantly, the old prophet gives in, telling Oedipus that he himself is the murderer. Oedipus becomes enraged, threatening Tiresias. The old man responds that Oedipus provokes him with the same insults that everyone will soon heap upon you. The king questions whether this accusation comes from him or from Creon. The old prophet replies that Creon is not the culprit. The old prophet then asks Oedipus if he knows who his parents are, adding that a curse of both father and mother will expel you from this land with darkness in your eyes. Oedipus and Creon meet to talk. Immediately, Oedipus threatens his brother-in-law, calling him a traitor and conspirator against him. In defence, Creon asks if he should be banished. When Jocasta arrives, the king tells her that her brother is conspiring against him, but she responds in defence, "What has aroused your anger?" So, he tells her that Creon accuses him of killing her husband, the king. She responds that he should not worry about the matter and tells him about the oracle's prophecy and her husband's death. It was fate that he should die by the hands of his own son. But now, look, he, the king, was killed by foreign thieves at a place where 3 roads meet. With his curiosity aroused, Oedipus asks about the murder. How long ago was it? What was he like? How old was he? She tells him about the only survivor, an old servant who was sent away. Oedipus asks to speak with the old man, and if their stories match, he will be free of any guilt. Oedipus then recounts the story of his own departure from Corinth. He had been called a bastard at a dinner hosted by his parents, the king and queen. Although his parents denied the accusation, he soon discovered that a prophecy had destined him to murder his father and lie with his mother. To avoid fulfilling the prophecy, he fled the city only to come to a crossroads where he encountered a carriage. A dispute ensues, and he ends up killing the occupant of the carriage and the driver. "I killed them all." He asks Jocasta, "Was I not born evil? Am I not utterly impure?" A messenger arrives to tell Oedipus that his father, the king of Corinth, is dead. Oedipus realizes that the old prophecy was wrong. They prophesied that I would kill my father, but he is dead and buried in the depths of the earth, and I am here who never laid a hand or spear near him. However, he is confused and not completely relieved, still fearing that the prophecy may prove true. The messenger adds that King Polybus was not Oedipus' real father, for he had received a baby, Oedipus, from a shepherd and given him to the king. Oedipus realized that this shepherd was the same man who had been sent away by Jocasta. To help appease the king's anguish, Jocasta tells Oedipus that she hopes the gods will prevent him from discovering who he really is. The old shepherd arrives to speak with Oedipus. After the king pressures him, he reluctantly tells the story of how he took pity on the baby, who came from Laius's house, and gave him to the messenger. After hearing the shepherd's confession, Oedipus goes mad, begging for a sword so he could kill his wife, his mother. Speaking to the chorus, a second messenger arrives and tells the public that Jocasta is dead. She had committed suicide. When Oedipus enters her room, he finds her hanging with a twisted rope around her neck. He tore the brooches from her gown and stabbed his eyes repeatedly. Blind, he begs to be shown to the men of Thebes as the murderer of his father. He laments, "Why should I see whose vision showed me nothing sweet to see?" He proclaims that he is impious and a child of impurity. If there is any evil worse than evil, this is Oedipus' fate. Creon comes to him, not to laugh, but only to ask what he could do. Oedipus asks to give Jocasta a proper burial and for himself to be expelled and live far from the city. Oedipus Rex was not only performed during antiquity, but is still performed today, and is required reading in many schools. It survived as a model for plays by notable authors such as Seneca, Dryden, and Voltaire. The psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud even coined the phrase Oedipus complex to describe the developmental stage in which one may feel desire for the opposite sex parent.